Hi guys, how are you today? Welcome back to my channel Adventures in America. Today we're going to talk about the passengers who can travel outside the Philippines and also the travel restrictions or travel advisories from the Department of Foreign Affairs. Started. If you wanted information about traveling to the Philippines and you wanted to know the rules and regulations by the government, you need to go to the Bureau of Immigration website and go to the press release section, and you can find all the information regarding immigration updates, those who are allowed to travel and those who are not allowed to travel in the Philippines. Per Bureau of Immigration, those who are allowed to leave the Philippines are overseas Filipino workers, those who have study visas, and those who are permanent residents of another country or citizens of a foreign country. If you wanted more information about the travel restrictions of countries in other parts of the world, just go to the Department of Foreign Affairs website or DFA and go to their news section in their website and go to travel advisories. Before I proceed with the infographics issued by the Department of Foreign Affairs, let me read to you their public advisory on travel bans and restrictions. A public advisory was issued on August 23, 2020. The DFA reports additional 5 countries have lifted border restrictions while others updated inbound protocols. This week, the Department of Foreign Affairs received reports that 5 new countries have lifted inbound restrictions on Filipino travelers, subject to medical protocols such as proof of purchase of health insurance, institutional or home quarantine, presentation of negative COVID-19 test result, among others. These countries include Brazil, Kiribati, United Kingdom, Benin, and Chad. On the other hand, while Canada, Armenia, Slovak Republic, and Kuwait still do not allow general entry, they have imposed stricter medical protocols similar to those mentioned above. In view of these updates, the DFA reminds the public that information contained in the infographics is subject to change without prior and sufficient public notice. Therefore, it is always best to check ahead of travel dates with airlines as well as with relevant embassies or consulates before booking a ticket and before departure. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the infographics issued by the Department of Foreign Affairs. And all of these countries, they divided into by continent, and there are criteria or legends. So let's go over the legends. So number 1, subject to flight availability and other special arrangements or commercial flights. Legend number 2, transit allowed. Legend number 3, if there's a check mark and it says number 3, there is an exception, and that is on number 3 legend, except diplomatic and UN passport holders, citizens of destination country, individuals with work or residency permits, those with special permission by the foreign government and or for essential travel purposes. And number 4, subject to the destination country of the country's medical protocols on arriving and departing international passengers. And number 5, subject to approval from authorities, host government, destination countries' visa regulations at this time. I'm only going to pick out a few countries because I cannot really discuss all of these countries in just one video. So I'm going to discuss countries where there are a more concentration of Filipinos. So let's go ahead and go over the first one, the first continent, Americas. I'm going to go ahead and pick out Canada. Under Canada, it has an X blue mark and the number 3 and 4. So that means that Filipinos may not enter Canada, but there's an exception. Number 3, except diplomatic and UN passport holders, citizens of destination country, individuals with work or residency permits, and those with special permission by the foreign government and or for essential travel purposes. And then also number 4, subject to the destination country's medical protocols on arriving and departing international passengers. I'm gonna go ahead and pick another country. So the country would be the United States of America. And let's go over the restrictions. So I'm only going through the column that has a blue background, like Filipinos allowed to leave Philippines. And under the United States of America, it has a check mark and it has number 1. So let's check the legend for this one. So you can travel to the United States, but number 1 says subject to flight availability and other special arrangements or commercial flights. So let's go ahead and continue with the next continent, Asia Pacific. And I'm just only focusing on the blue column. I'm going to pick out Australia, and under Australia there is an X mark, so it says that you cannot enter Australia except, and there is a number 3 and a number 5. So except diplomatic and UN passport holders, citizens of destination countries. So if you're a citizen of Australia, you can go to Australia. Individuals with work or residency permits, and those with special permission by the foreign government and or for essential travel purposes. And there's also a number 5, so that means you are subject to approval from authorities, host government, destination countries, visa regulations at this time. So that means you need to have the appropriate visa or the work permit, and you are subject to approval from the Australian government. New Zealand. So in New Zealand, under the blue column, there is a check mark and there is a number 2 and a 5. So let's go ahead. What's number 2 and 5? It says subject to, so it means transit allowed and subject to approval from authorities, host government, destination countries, visa regulations at this time. Singapore, they have a check mark and there is a number 4 and 5. So that means you can enter Singapore, but there is a restriction subject to the destination country's medical protocols on arriving and departing international passengers and subject to approval from authorities, host government, destination countries, visa regulations at this time. There is a check mark and it's number 1 and number 4. So let's check it out again. Number 1 says subject to flight availability and other special arrangements or commercial flights. And number 4, subject to the destination country's medical protocols on arriving and departing international passengers. Let's go over to the next country, United Kingdom. There is a blue check mark and the number 4 restriction. Number 4 states that subject to the destination country's medical protocols on arriving and departing international passengers. So in Saudi Arabia, there is an X mark. So that means you cannot travel, and there is a number. So that is a number 3. Number 3 in the legend, except diplomatic and UN passport holders, citizens of destination country, individuals with work or residency permits, those with special permission by the foreign government and or for essential travel purposes. So if you have work in there or you reside there, you can travel in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to pick out another one. It's United Arab Emirates. There is a check mark. So that means you are allowed to travel but subject to number 4 and number 5. And so what is number 4 and number 5? Subject to the destination country's medical protocols on arriving and departing international passengers, and subject to approval from authorities, host government, destination countries, visa regulations at this time. My advice is to constantly check key government websites such as Department of Foreign Affairs, Bureau of Immigration, and the Philippine consulates abroad before traveling, because the updates are changing drastically from week to week, and there might be new information that you needed to know ahead of time. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you guys. Stay safe and have a great day.